are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
Life, liberty, and the
If liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear.
Make America great again.
The Big Mig.
Welcome back to the Big Mig Show. Of course, I'm your host, Lance Migliaccio, with my ride or die co-host, George Ballantine. Tip of the spear, baby. You know how we do it on this show, of course, because if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear. For those of you who are already our fan base, of course, the Big Mig Mafia and the Bongino Armory converts, you know how we do it on this show. The plan is always to educate and unify the country one episode at a time. We always try to expose the truth. We always try to bring you the facts, the sauce, the receipts. Doesn't matter really what you call it. The plan here is always to make sure you're educated, because you can't trust mainstream media. You know how it is. They'll BS about everybody. We got a barn burner today. We got a great guest. I'm excited about it. George, my brother, how are you, man?
I'm good. Just, I don't know, a lot of good things. All of a sudden, he says he's from Puerto Rico. I'm like, oh, man, I got to get to Puerto Rico. That's where we're trying to get to. There, yeah, Florida, somewhere. Yeah.
He didn't know this. I hadn't had a chance to discuss with him. I've got a friend that's got a company down in Puerto Rico, a big company. They do a lot of stuff. You guys, and they had a close call on a hurricane not too long ago. They almost had a monster come rolling through.
He's at an event right now where it's an event for, Save the Children. And I was like, oh, look at the shirt I got on. Like, it's just fake. Like, yeah. Look how it works.
Yeah, we've done a lot to expose human trafficking, had lots of the experts on this show, of course. That's how we do it here. Same thing when it comes to your health, because we care about our audience. We want you guys to take care of yourself, and that's what the show is going to be about today. But before we kick it off, let me thank our sponsors. Of course, I'm talking about Genesis Gold Group. Gold and silver, I only wish you'd listened to us 2 years ago. You'd be way up. It's on a tear. You always want a backup plan. You always want to have just in case. I know Donald Trump's in the White House, but I believe in having some gold and silver. You know, we believe in crypto. It's one of those things you really want to diversify. And what I'm holding up is a 62.2 gram prepper bar, perforated, easily broken down into your choice of 3 different denominations. If you can see on camera, you can kind of see there's a small, a medium, and a large. And you can use this, great invention by the guys at Genesis Gold Group, I might comment. You can use this in case your cash isn't available, in case your credit cards aren't working. Who knows? We might end up with a social credit score like China. If they do, George and I are going to have to use our gold and silver, because they're going to hammer us. At the end of the day, available in gold and silver. They're in stock, comes with an assay report, no issue. You're never going to get any counterfeit gold out of the guys at Genesis Gold Group. They've been in the gold and silver business for decades. So head over to thebigmigbar.com, get some of these real tangible forms of wealth, hold them, stick them in your sock drawer, your safety deposit box. They're the just-in-case solution. And you can use the promo code, all caps, PREPPER, PREPPER, exclusive for our guests and listeners. That will get you 10% off on the silver, 5% off on the gold. And as those prices increase, that discount keeps going up. Get ahead of the curve. Don't wait until your money's worthless. Thebigmigbar.com. George makes it easy with that prepper, with that QR code. Take a snapshot, easy peasy.
Japanesey. And break me off a piece of that prepper bar.
Get a little jingle with George. All right, listen.
Gotta do it.
I don't want to leave him backstage too long, because, man, this guy, he's known as the Sherlock Holmes of disease. He's been kind of just on the tip of it. He's talked to thousands of experts. He's an investigative journalist. He's also a documentarian, which I did not know originally. I kind of figured that out after I started doing all my research. He's shining a light on all kinds of groundbreaking research, hidden truths, natural solutions. And you know how we love our natural solutions on this show. And we love to empower people. We want you to take back control of your health, your life. You know that. You know what it's about. So he's got decades of global field work. He's talked to so many experts. I'm not going to waste my time telling you the list. I'll let him do that. He's got some great products, great websites. What I love about this, he's going to talk about disease, but he's also going to bring you the solutions. Let's get him in here, George. Jonathan Otto.
Welcome to the Big Big Show, Jonathan Otto. How you doing, bro?
No, good. Thank you, George, Lance. It's a pleasure to be with you both.
Yeah, man, thank you so very much for joining us. I know you've got a hectic schedule. I know you're at an event. I did not know you were living in Puerto Rico. A friend of ours has a company down there. He does quite a bit of business down there. A lot of it to do with the abatement. Of course, lead-based paint is all over the island. Oddly enough, not much in the way of asbestos, but he runs a business that does that. Also, disaster relief and recovery for hurricanes. You guys had a close call not too long ago, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
That one was creeping close, and it was getting pretty powerful in the center. Probably would have done some serious damage, but luckily it missed you guys, which is great. You guys haven't had a hurricane, what, in about 7 years now?
Yeah, not anything significant, so thankfully. But yeah, the Maria was a pretty traumatic for a lot of folks. I moved there after that. My wife she's Puerto Rican. She grew up in Michigan, but so a lot of her family that are Puerto Rican, they were there during that. So it's but it's been okay, right? And then when the small hurricanes come, people like me that are surfers like to get out and start surfing during those times. So what one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Exactly. I know about that. I was there actually, oddly enough, about 2 months ago. That friend of mine, I wanted me to come down there and do some consulting for him and kind of get a picture of what was going on because he wanted to, I know a lot about construction. I've done a lot of commercial construction and otherwise. So wanted to ask me about some projects he had going. But man, you are a busy guy. I mean, not only do you have your own podcast, the Health Secrets podcast. I hope that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And documentaries, you have stacked them up. That is no easy feat. How many have you made total? Because I got a list and I don't know if I'm accurate, but I want to ask you, how many have you made?
Yeah, it's over 20 documentary series. So they're typically around 10 episodes each, at least.
Wow.
Typically double that, more like 20 because of how we do it. So it's several hundred hours of published content. So we're kind of busy. I am on a mission to give people solutions and answers, like these shows, like that you guys are airing. We get our content out to the public for free because it's a God-given right to have health, and people deserve to know the truth. A lot of the therapies that we're talking about are either free or practically free. These are good things.
Yeah, well,
hold on,
we're
Lance.
not fans of Big Pharma. I know what
Lance,
George is going to do right
on.
now. He's
I know.
salivating.
Yeah, so we have a documentary channel, a Big Mick documentary channel. So where I've guests who have documentaries, I ask them, can we put the documentaries up? And if you're okay with it, I would love to put them up, all your documentaries, and share them.
That'd be fantastic. Like one that you guys would find fascinating is Covenom 19. I released that through the Stu Peters Network, but we were whistleblowing hardcore on what's actually happening with COVID, the vaccines, the injuries, how they're working. I can say that, right?
Absolutely. We don't go into it too much because, of course, we've already been suspended a couple of times. But here on Rumble, George, are we airing right now on YouTube? I don't know if we are or not.
Okay,
so we'll have to be cautious about this.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, let's just be cautious. Thank you.
But here's the deal. At the end of the day, we've covered a lot of it. We've gone over so much. I just kind of want to read off some of these titles for the audience because I want to show them the depth of your knowledge. Because, of course, you got one called The Truth About Cancer, The Truth About the V's. I won't go into that. The Secret Plant, Cancer, The Big Taboo, Autoimmune Secrets, Bible Health Secrets, Cancer Secrets, Cancer Decoded, upcoming projects. You're talking about some stuff. I don't know. You've got some stuff called The Green, maybe, or is that already out?
What's the name? What'd you read?
The Green, is that one, or Creating Discourse? Or those previous stuff?
Yeah, The Green is not ringing a bell. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. This is what happens sometimes when you use AI. They're giving you extra credits. You can use them on IMDb and it'll validate it. All right. So here's my thing. On this audience, we have disclosed a lot of the truths about medical health. Some of those we've paid the price for. Others we've been able to talk about. There's so many areas that you are an expert in, and I'm not exactly sure where to start, but maybe we start with cancer, because that is a thing that's going on in a lot of families. We've heard about turbo cancer now for a number of reasons. We won't say why, but we know that I've talked to a lot of the medical experts. They're shocked by what's going on. But what started you? Let me start there. What really was the catalyst? You had a bunch of childhood experiences. You saw a lot of suffering on TV. What was that epiphany moment? Because for us, we couldn't stand on the sidelines anymore. We got nauseated by the lies and mainstream media and our own government. and big pharma controlling our own government in so many ways. The lobbyists, obviously, one of the most powerful of all of them. What triggered you? There had to be one real moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a few really key moments, and sometimes it was often bringing me back to that original goal. So, like you mentioned, there was a catalyst when I was young where I just witnessing starvation, because that was the first exposure I had. Like, for some people, like, they might see maybe a commercial for a child with cancer or something like that, and it's a St. Jude's Hospital or something like that, and a child sees it, and then they realize, wow, not everybody has a life like mine. And for mine, it was seeing malnourished children. So that was, it was a big catalyst, because my research like, it's funny, like, children researching is not kind of normal, but when you're a child, you get assignments and homework projects. And so all my research then was in human trafficking, in human global poverty and development, famine, and economics. And so by age 17, I became an ambassador for World Vision. I traveled through sub-Saharan Africa and Asia and various parts of the world to understand what was really driving poverty and how we could solve it. And then I started pioneering my own trips and where we would do famine distributions. And I'm still doing a lot of that in northern Kenya. We're there day to day in helping with aid during the famines, get people into long-term sustainability. But these were all the initiatives that came from wanting to put an end to human suffering. I was struggling with my health as well. And then when I was studying, I got my degrees with a major in journalism, and then later in education in my postgraduate degree. But it was simply because I wanted to have skills that could help disclose and research. And so I ended up going heavy into health because of my own health issues. I became a producer for this series, The Truth About Cancer. And then I became very equipped in that knowledge. And because, like doctors, even if you're a holistic doctor, you don't learn through your medical degree nutrition or regenerative medicine. That's all basically the study that you have to do on your own. And so I did a lot of study in that area, and then I started being able to crack the code on various different, whether it was autoimmune disease, cancer, other types of mysterious symptoms and disease that we see going around a lot. I'll just say that much. But I became a resource then to a lot of doctors, like millions of people around the world, including physicians, holistic doctors, naturopaths, functional medicine doctors, that would then use my content to help them understand how best to treat their patients, and have me work directly with them to help them understand what to do when they can't solve a problem. Hence the Sherlock Holmes reference. But it's been a really exciting journey, and most importantly, people are getting extraordinary results, and we'll talk more about that, and people can see that real time, what it's like to turn around a disease that you thought never could be reversed. And we've got evidence, countless evidence, even autism, like 5,000 cases of autism being reversed. And I could reference the folks that are in connection to that specific work, or whether it's cancer or whether it's autoimmune disease, they all have solutions.
It's interesting. We talked about on the show before that, of course, the corruption in the medical industry, and the fact that it seems like treat the symptoms, don't treat the disease. Of course, it's a money-making machine. You kind of expose that all in a documentary, I believe, called The War on Health. Hopefully I have that right. And Big Pharma kind of perpetuates. They're so good at the marketing part of it, right? They're so good at the advertising part of disease.
Yeah.
Kind of a fear-mongering process. But at the end of the day, the way they operate, in my opinion, is, again, treating the symptoms and not really going after the disease. There's lots of studies. Some of it's got to do with parasites when it comes to cancer. Lots of people have had some high levels of success. Even Roger Stone, his wife, had stage 4, and he used the naturopathic method and was able to get it into full remission when they told her she had a limited amount of time. Now she's still around years later. Wow. Using, ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and lots of other treatments. Kind of these programs are out there, but it's mostly hidden medicine, right? It seems like, just like you said, it's shocking that when doctors, and most people don't realize this, and maybe you can expand on this, when you go into medical school, nutrition, I think you get like this much nutrition information compared to everything else, which I think is kind of shocking because at the core of it isn't so much of this nutrition related.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It was Linus Pauling that had 2 unshared Nobel Prizes that said that all disease can be linked back to mineral deficiency. So this is a nutritional issue. The nutritional or deficiency is arguably mostly caused by toxicity. So toxicity is creating deficiency. So nutrition is key. Various forms of detoxification is critical because the toxins are creating a deficiency. And so it's very hard. Like you could be stacking and trying to put in all the right foods, and then you still are dealing with toxins that are not able to, you then you still aren't able to get the body functioning optimally. And that's where you enter into light therapies and frequency-based medicine, because that's one of the ways and one of the best ways to remove toxins from the cells and let the cells do their own work. And so it's interesting that when you think of nutrients, you think about what you're putting in your mouth and chewing, not about what you're absorbing through your skin. Right. And these and it's interesting how God made us. Genesis 1 says, "Let there be light," and then after light comes all things, and then all things are created to be in proximity to light. And without light, all things die. And we just have forgotten that light is one of the most critical things for the body, for all cellular function. And that's the reason why when people are using light, they're restoring their thyroid function, they're restoring eyesight. And I could show you clinical studies on all of these that I'm sharing. They're using it to put cancer into remission in clinical studies on PubMed, which I'll share through a process called photodynamic therapy. So yes, that is a nutrient-based therapy, but a different form of nutrients.
Yeah, it's interesting. So many people talk about vitamin D, getting your vitamin D from the sun, and they often believe that they can replace that sunlight with a supplement. But in fact, the body doesn't process it the same way.
Yeah.
For most people, getting a certain amount of sunlight, I try to go outside no matter what, because of course, when you're an investigative journalist, sometimes you get attached to this keyboard as if it's an additional appendage. You're doing research, you're preparing stories, you're preparing shows, and in your case, creating documentaries, and maybe authoring articles or helping people. The schedule gets to the point that you start to realize that maybe you need to get your ass outside. Ground yourself, maybe take your shoes and socks off, ground yourself to the earth a little bit. I try to do it every day, but it's sometimes is that moment where you realize, geez, but my mom's in the hospital right now. And the last couple of days, I didn't even get a workout. Yeah, hopefully she'll be okay. Her blood sugar kind of went out of whack, and a lot of other things.
I got a ground. I have a grounding mat. Yeah, you use.
You use the grounding mat? Yeah, I don't know if it has. Is the grounding mat have the same effect? But what I want to do is, because I know we only have. This hour is going to fly by because we could go into all kinds of topics. I've been watching this information about the Japanese figuring out a way for you to regrow teeth. And I thought, man, that's a crazy story. I'm watching, I'm observing from a distance of how they're doing it. I don't know if it's true, but you hear about these things. Let's talk about, because I'm pretty familiar with red light therapy. My wife has a non-invasive health clinic where she does like HIFU and M-Sculpt and lots of other procedures. She's a IFBB Bikini Pro competitor trying to get a position in the Olympia. But she has a big red light bed as an example. We have a red light blanket at the house that we use regularly. We have one of those red light helmets that I'll stick on sometimes. Kind of looks crazy, but I'll stick it on sometimes while I'm working. Try to get some red light.
You sure you got it up all the way? Is it really working for you? Maybe
I don't know. I don't know. You never know. With my head, it's such a giant head. I might have to wear 2 helmets. But let's jump in. I'm just gonna throw you the mic. Let's pick something that you really feel like is the most important thing to discuss. Let's talk about the red light therapy and the light therapy in general, and how that's a solution, and how people can improve their lives with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So great to know that your wife is doing that, Lance. That's great. Just say wife or girlfriend.
It's my wife.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Great that she's doing that. And people would often do it for cosmetic reasons, and not that that's the only reason that she's doing it. But the great news is that you then have all these other reasons or benefits that come into your life because of using it, significantly improving your organ function dramatically, which then is the big driver for the conditions that
let me point out to the audience that website, if you guys want to check it out after during the show, it's redlifelights.com.
Yeah.
Redlifelights.com. LIFE for life, of course.
Yeah.
Redlifelights.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Fantastic. Oh, that's awesome. So what I'll share with you guys, so I'll kind of red pill you on some things here. So if you can pull up the red light presentation that I had there. There's a couple of different slides I'll point you to that I think you'll find fascinating.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay. This one,
have
right?
a look. Yeah. Have a look at page 85. And so you could.
I skip
There you go. Ready? We're gonna let's hold onto your seatbelt so you don't vomit.
Wow,
here.
this is a big document.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of research and science behind this.
Now, is this document available on the website?
The presentation is, and then there is a site, myredlight.com, which is not Red Life, it's Red Light. So myredlight.com, and that will have this whole presentation.
Gotcha.
And it also will have links to, for example, products if people have an interest in getting these types of products, and also some various discounts and bonuses that are specific on that page that are.
And I want to point out to the audience that you really have to be careful about Red Light, because there's lots of companies producing what I would consider inferior products.
Mm-hmm.
I only know that because of my wife, because I know that the frequencies matter.
Yes.
So you just really need. Well, I'm sure Jonathan's going to explain that, but don't just think because you bought some red light off of some schlocky Chinese site that you're going to be doing yourself anything good except maybe getting some red light on your face. I don't mean actual red light. I mean you're just going to look red. All right, so let's go ahead, Jonathan.
All right, awesome. So this is on PubMed, and this was a cutaneous B-cell lymphoma. And underneath it, in Figure 1, it's kind of cut off there, but it says it says complete response in patient, which means, and then it says specifically after 2 sessions. And I want to make it clear that by no means making a promise there. If you can go there, and then I'll show you the fine print on this in the next slide. Go the next one. Yep, and the next one. And so there's the Cutaneous Lymphoma Foundation. They're showing a 60 to 90% effectiveness rate. And then the next one, and there's the clinical study, but I'll show it straight from the study on the next slide. And this here shows that there were 3 patients treated, and I could show you much larger studies. There were 3 patients treated in a pilot study with cutaneous B-cell lymphoma. And you could see the highlighted sections there. They used a 630 nanometer light. And then they had
that's the frequency remission. I was talking about. Exactly. That nanometer frequency is what matters, because there are lots of different wavelengths of red light in every light. You have to be in certain frequencies to get the right effects, correct? Am I right about that?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. And everything is good, which is interesting. Everything is good between 600 and 1100, which is what you'll see in all the devices. But certain frequencies or nanometers of penetration are needed for certain conditions. And so you may have either a condition that you have or you want to prevent. And if you don't have that wavelength, then you don't have evidence that it would necessarily work. And in some cases, you'll have evidence that those frequencies don't actually work for that condition.
Can I ask you a question? So if you just someone, I don't know, they're not sick or nothing, but they just want to go for red light therapy. Is there any specific not roundabout number where you recommend frequency?
Oh yeah, the wavelengths. Yes. Well, you basically want to penetrate as much as possible in the body, but if you would only choose 2 wavelengths, it would be 660 and 850, which is they're the most common. But again, if you had anything in the 600s and anything in the 800s, you would have some of the critical red and near infrared wavelengths that would give you a ton of benefit. But then if you really wanted the best effect, you would have multiple wavelengths, more like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wavelengths. And that's the reason why we put 9 wavelengths into our devices, because they're interfacing in different regions of the body. But I'll come back to that. But have a look at this. It said all the treated patients had complete remission. defined as a clinical and histologic complete absence of cutaneous B-cell lymphoma. And this is the craziest part. After a maximum of 2 photodynamic therapy sessions, PDT sessions, at a 1-week interval, and no patient experienced particular side effects, and the pain was easily managed after the PDT sessions. Almost
It's
unbelievable.
crazy. Full remission, 2 sessions, 1 week.
Correct.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And that's what cancer was this?
This was cutaneous B-cell lymphoma.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You know, and it's unbelievable. Of course, this is one of those therapies that so many people don't talk about, and I think the other one is PMF, also, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And we'll chat about that, because what you spoke about with nature is what red light and PMF are harnessing. So if you went outside and you laid, ideally naked on the earth, you would get the highest amount of what the earth can give you frequency wise. If you were not like on the concrete, you'd have to be on either on the grass, the sand, or the bare earth, the dirt, and you would be getting the earth's Schumann resonance through your body, and you'd be getting the sunlight on you, which would be a full spectrum light. If you're in the morning or the evenings, you'd have a high concentration of peak of the red wavelength and red wavelengths into your body. So yeah, that's you're amplifying this. And even if people are doing these therapies I'm sharing with using devices, which arguably could push 10 times, 20 times, 50 times the intensity with the Earth's frequencies and with the sunlight's irradiance, the amount of power delivered. Hence why those benefits are abnormal in the studies. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, that is not a usual result. 2 sessions. That was photodynamic therapy. So that's the easiest way that people understand would be methylene blue would be an example. Whereas if you add methylene blue before you do the red light, about 30 minutes, 60 minutes before, you will create a higher ability for your body to generate reactive oxygen species to target
I did not know that.
cells.
So you say pre of doing red light therapy to use methylene, because I take some methylene blue.
Oh yeah.
And methylene blue. So you're telling me that it actually makes you more photoreactive?
Yes, correct. And I would argue that you shouldn't do methylene blue unless you do sunlight, because it doesn't have much benefit. And it either have to be sunlight or red light, and ideally red light, because the peak absorption is at 660, which is red. And so you could be out during the day and you're not getting enough to activate, hence why using a device with
that is interesting. I was not aware of that.
I did the methylene blue protocol maybe 7 months ago, 8 months ago. I think it was like a 3-month thing I had to do it for.
Oh yeah.
But it's interesting you didn't combine it with red light, and I was not aware of that. Now let me ask you a question. What about combining red light, methylene blue, and what about sound generation? There's so many healing frequencies in sound.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. There's not as
Is it a good idea to add? Because normally when I'm doing my red light, I'll listen to sound healing frequencies, regenerative frequencies. I'll go on YouTube and I'll pick out different ones. Is that beneficial?
Yeah, there's definitely no contraindication, and that 432 hertz is resembling plant frequencies, and that's a good thing. Again, you're just resembling nature when you do that. And if you're outside, you'd be getting the plant's frequencies, and they're basically like silently singing to you. And if you're playing those frequencies, then it's a great thing. There's a lot less studies on it being like reversing disease to the level that I'm showing you in these studies. But that being said, maybe there's a lot more coming. And so yeah, it doesn't hurt. A lot of people report benefits. It's very soothing. It resembles nature. There was a plan to change the frequencies of music, and that happened. And so everything is tuned incorrectly now with nature. But I'll show you, like, now that we showed lymphoma, flash that back up and you could see some of the studies on breast cancer. And let me give the disclaimer that this is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure any condition or disease. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Consult with your healthcare practitioner. This is not medical advice, and there is no claims being made here. Okay, so next slide. And again, I'm reading to you PubMed articles. Okay. And so keep going. There you go.
For the orders, that means published medical articles that have been published by either a university or a media source. So that's what PubMed, just so they know what that means.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Or specifically the PubMed database, the NIH website.
Yes, right.
Yeah, so both are true. So next slide there, you'll see it directly in the present from the clinical study. So that one. So this was an in vitro, meaning that it was in a petri dish, but it was human cell lines, so not animal, and it was triple negative and non-triple negative breast cancer origin cell lines. And you could see that. Everyone can see it with their own two eyes. So then it says at 24 hours post-exposure time point, which means they put the light on it, and then 24 hours later, they look at the cancer, and they said at only LED light with 660 nanometer wavelength possessed anti-proliferative effects against both cell lines with a 40% reduction of cell viability. And so, which means that there was a 40% drop in the growth of the tumor, which was—
and how many sessions? Was that one session?
That was one session.
Wow.
And in vitro in a petri dish, yes. And 615 nanometers was tested, 630, 660, and 730, but it was only 660 that could drop it by 40% in 24 hours in vitro. I don't think people should expect quite that result in themselves, but I do see examples, and I have witnessed some really dramatic results. That being said, I mean, it's quite exceptional. Okay, next one. And
so that was on a breast cancer cell. Now we're talking about lung cancer.
Yeah.
So literally right now, just let me ask you this first. Is there any cancer that hasn't had these amazing results? Is there any cancer that's been—
Yeah, there would definitely be some types of cancer that haven't been studied yet for red light. Most have, and all the big categories have. So even melanoma, which you would think maybe there'd be a contraindication because many would argue sunlight caused this. So now, isn't it interesting that red light therapy, the sun's wavelengths, are still actually the thing that would heal it in clinical studies, specifically on melanoma, showing that it's not the sun that's necessarily doing the damage.
I think it's the sun. Is it the tanning lotion? So many people have said that what happens is the reactive nature. People have been slathering on, sunblock for years, not realizing that what they're doing is spreading carcinogens all over their skin, which of course the sun then amplifies and triggers. So it's not really the sun that causes it. That increase in melanoma that you see in the reports across the nation also matched directly of when we started using suntan lotions and sunblocks.
There you go. Exactly. You got it. And then you got seed oils and all the fried foods that are making the skin more sensitive. And so vampires are allergic to the sun. You could create your body to be allergic to the sun, and vampires aren't real. Hopefully, people that are just sick are, that's a different story. But
yeah, of course, it's a mental health crisis.
Yeah, but my point being that the concept of the body being allergic to the sun, but it's based on other reasons. And again, that's just a silly mythological reference. But you could make your body so that the sun is destructive, but if you change your environment, then the sun is healing for you. And the parts of your body that are getting exposed to the sunlight are the ones that are less likely to develop some of these massive issues with the skin and the moles, for example, becoming cancerous. The ones that are not getting exposed, they're the ones that you really need to make sure you're getting checked, and then you're getting light exposure and getting like red light therapy over these areas that are not getting exposed. And I'm about to show a prostate cancer study, because as much as
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll do lung cancer. We definitely want to talk about prostate because that's so prevalent nowadays.
Yeah.
But let's do the lung cancer. Jump in there,
exactly.
because
So
there are people that are dealing with this. There are people that were smokers and otherwise that have done some damage to their lungs. Although I don't believe it's the nicotine. I believe it's the other chemicals in the cigarettes.
We got nicotine there.
I have a question since we're going into the lungs, right?
Yeah.
About red light. I don't want to, the thing that came out in 2020 and how people had it. Some people's lungs got affected.
Yeah.
Because actually my uncle's one of them, and now he walks around with oxygen. Does anything red light therapy help regenerate his lungs? Yes.
And there's a couple of factors that are going on here. It's not just the lungs. A lot of these conditions are neurological. So it's for example, the nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, the alpha 7 receptor, that is like it's in the brain. They're in the brain, the kidneys, the intestines, and heart, etc. But they regulate like breathing and respiration. And so a lot of people, they're thinking that they specifically have a lung issue when they have like they have a toxin issue that's causing low oxygen in their body, which is a mitochondrial issue. And light therapy will correct the mitochondrial issue. And I could show you clinical studies. And I'll say this one a little cryptically. It was the European Society of Medicine that did a study on long COVID, which, we could talk about that as to what that is, and why they got that. In a lot of cases, it's because they put something in their body. In other cases, they caught something. But this was 100% effective in all 62 participants, and after 4 64 to 84-minute long sessions, and it was a resolution of all symptoms. That one, I'll have to pull it up. I believe it was red and near infrared, which it was the 600s and 800s from memory.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I would always go with those, but I actually should know that off the top of my head, but I can tell you there were those longer sessions. They were all condensed within a single week. So 64 to 84-minute long sessions within a 1 week interval, 4 sessions. They all go into remission. Which
really, we're talking about an hour to an hour and a half.
Yes.
Somebody that's fighting a major issue like that, to think that they just spend an hour and a half in the mornings, get up at 5, jump under the red light. This is real world. So for the audience, pay attention here. I know we're moving fairly rapidly. We've got a lot to cover. We're definitely going to have Jonathan back.
I was just going to say, we probably have to bring him on
one
for
of
a
our
second
fucking
part.
people for sure. You can tell we have a decent knowledge base of some of this stuff because we've had lots of experts on.
Amazing.
But the point is, we're moving quickly.
Yeah.
I know this is fast for you guys. Pay attention to what he just said, though. If you really read between the lines here, for somebody that maybe had an issue in 2020 without going into details, because they want to suspend the shit out of the show anyway. Yeah. They're just looking for a reason. What I'm telling you is, this may very well be the solution. Again, not medical advice. Always talk to your medical experts. But remember, your medical experts, they might be bought and paid for by Big Pharma. Go ahead there.
You got it. Yeah, you got it. Absolutely. So, resolution of digestive issues, brain fog resolved, memory recall resolved, oxygen levels in the blood, saturation above 97%. All people, all 62 people, 60 of them got better within a single week. The other 2 got better the following weeks. Unbelievable results. And this is an example coming back to lung cancer. This was an overall response of nearly 87%. Show the next slide and you'll see that in the clinical study, which this is not in most cases caused by smoking. Lung cancer is the biggest killer of all cancers. It kills more people than colon cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer combined. And smoking is going down. Less and less people are doing it proportionately, and yet it's going up. What we're breathing, the toxins we're getting exposed to, we can't escape them. They're in the home. We can escape some of them. We can do indoor air filtration, and we can put plants in the home, and we can make sure we're getting less toxic products or zero toxic, off-gassing products. And so this kind of gives you some.
All right, Jonathan, that music is cueing a short break.
What
I hate
music?
to even take the break because we're digging into a lot of stuff that's really going to help you guys in the audience. Hopefully you're paying attention. If you didn't pay close enough attention, you can always go back and review it. And remember this, if you like the show, thumbs up, comment, share, and subscribe. Right now on the break, my homework for you guys is take the live link, share it across. You might be changing people's lives more than you think. At a minimum, you're educating people so that they're armed to have these kind of discussions in a credible manner. So stay tuned. The Big Mig Show. I'll be right back with George Ballantine, myself, Lance Migliaccio, and Jonathan Otto, the Sherlock Holmes of disease. I think he's proving the name. I think he's proving it right now. We'll be right back.
Don't go nowhere.
I might have to let it drop. Represent, gotta do hella big, had to run it back again. Like represent, had to.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At cspoa.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit CSPOA.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's CSPOA.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
President Trump has a bold new vision to help secure America's future through the power of cryptocurrency. Partnering with pioneers like Elon Musk, he's turning crypto into the next frontier of financial freedom. But how can you, a generation that values security and stability, advance your retirement in this digital age? Introducing Block Trust IRA, the world's first AI-driven platform designed to help your cryptocurrency investments thrive. Thousands of retirees nationwide are already securing their futures with Block Trust IRA. Isn't it time you join them? Visit blocktrustira.com now and receive up to $2,500 in funding bonuses. That's blocktrustira.com. The experts in accelerating wealth retirement.
Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation.
Forged through rigorous training and honed by the finest instructors on Earth, these canine units serve beside our nation's warriors as they fight to preserve what we cherish. When these warriors complete their duty, the Warrior Dog Foundation provides them with a home deserving of the service they've given us all. At our state-of-the-art kennels, they receive rehabilitation and care suitable for heroes, because that's what they are. Be a part of giving them a future today. Visit warriordogfoundation.org.
Welcome back to the Big Mig Show. Here we host Lance Migliaccio, George Bounty, our special guest, Jonathan Otto. Bringing you guys so much information, truth. You know, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, the like button, to follow, share, subscribe, that red Big Mig Mafia button if you can. We truly appreciate it. Pays for a lot of things. Hold on, Mods. Put that in. Mods, I just sent you something. Put it in the chat. So let me just give a shout out to our sponsor, BlockTrustIRA.com. They are your partner in your Bitcoin journey that's powered by Animus Technologies. They're empowering all Americans to take control of their financial future by providing secure, intelligent, accessible cryptocurrency investment within the familiar structure of an IRA. So in a world where traditional retirement strategies are struggling, keep pace with inflation and economic uncertainty, Block Trust IRA offers a clear alternative geared to work with individual investors to secure their future financial wealth. Their AI investments outperforms the market. Their market-leading management with none hidden fees. They trade over 60 different cryptocurrencies, rapidly accelerating American retirement wealth. Take a screenshot. You got the QR code. Take it right to the site, but not now, because we got a lot of information to give you guys, and I don't want you guys to miss it. Now, I got a couple questions real quick. Lance, fall back for a second. One question, number one. When you talked about methylene blue, do you suggest taking that every day or just before you're going to do red light therapy? How long before? Give me that part first.
Yeah, awesome. And so if there's people that like hate methylene blue because it's synthetic, look, you know, it's not the only option. You could use curcumin, berberine, chlorophyll, chlorine E6 that's harder to get, but there's a few different other photosensitizers you would use, and those you'd take about 2 to 3 hours. Those ones you could easily do every day because they're completely natural. Methylene blue isn't completely natural, but it is arguably a safe alternative still. If you have a chronic condition, then you could be doing that every day, and until you put that into remission. Once you do, then because it is synthetic, you could dial back on it and maybe be doing that maybe once a week as an example, or doing it for a season, putting something in remission, and then stepping back from it for a bit, but using it more sparingly than every day. But then larger amounts, if you have a chronic condition, like let's say if you're using it for cancer, some of the doctors that are educating on it with me are saying 3 to 5 milliliters of it, so a larger dose.
Wow.
Because you're really heightening that absorption of the light into the cells, because you're making it highly reactive. So what happens is your body then produces reactive oxygen species like singlet oxygen. It will do this anyway, regardless of whether you use methylene blue or not.
And if you take the methylene blue or you take a chlorophyll product like you suggested, how far in advance of the red light session? Half hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes?
Typically it would be 30, 60 minutes for methylene blue and 2 to 3 hours for everything else, because they just take a little bit longer to absorb. When in doubt, use OpenAI and just ask, just put in the chat, hey, look, what should I take for this condition? What kind of photosensitizer? What studies are out there? What light helps the absorption of this? Because curcumin is best absorbed because it's read actually by blue light 480.
Right.
But it is also has a secondary absorption at 660. But yeah, and when that gets a little complicated for people, then just do the light because it doesn't.
Does it have the same reaction of, let's say you're going to go out in the sun, that if you took the methylene blue and now you're going to go in for a hike or you're going to go else, does that have that same? It creates the same photosensitivity?
Yeah, not the same, but yes, it is very helpful and effective. Like I wouldn't do methylene blue unless you're doing light or a red light device.
Gotcha.
Red light device is going to be much more effective. It's just you're getting some downside of putting a synthetic dye in your body, and then but you're not getting the heightened benefit of being able to activate it so that it's not as beneficial. Arguably, everything needs to be activated by light. And then certainly things like that. So, and once you see some more studies, like I'll show you studies on eyesight with 3 minutes with your eyes open in looking into light. If you tested your eyesight immediately, on average, it would be 17% improvement in your eyesight immediately after only 3 minutes of exposure. That was a UCL university study.
Doing a red light with your eyes?
Yeah. It had to be the morning though. And so it had to be the morning, so it's based on circadian rhythm. So it just gives you an idea of how sensitive your body is to light, how sensitive your eyes are to light in a positive way.
See
and
the
a
dude with the
way.
glasses right there? He's wearing some glasses because his eyes are sensitive to light. His wife has red light therapy. Please tell him to go look at the light. Lance, go to the light.
No, I've actually done that, but it's interesting. It's congenital. So the studio light's really hard on me.
There we go.
I was diagnosed with having, highly receptive. So it's interesting though that the sidebar of it is that I have amazing night vision.
Next question.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Should people just buy a red light for their house?
Yeah, absolutely. Because anything else would be like way more expensive and way more ineffective, and you can't even use it at the times when you would arguably get the most benefit. Like if you get most benefit first thing in the morning, the clinic's not even open then. You want to do it just before you go to bed, the clinic's not open then. You're paying $100 a session. It's not worth it. That being said, like it's not a bad option if people want to do it that way. Just do it. Like get red light regardless. The thyroid studies are amazing. 20 minutes twice a week.
Let's jump back for a minute. I want to make sure we cover prostrate and thyroid, because that's a major issue across the United States.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you know
George.
Hold on. So just everybody right now that are watching the chat, Jonathan was gracious enough. He just made that promo code for you guys, just for the people on the Big Mig Show are watching. So it's in the chat. The link's in there, the code. He just did that while we're on break. So utilize it. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll come back to why people should get devices in their homes. We can come back to that. So next slide there. So that was 87% response rate to lung cancer. There's some of the published studies there. Next one. And that doesn't mean that 87% went into remission, but they had a dramatic improved quality of life. Next one there. bone cancer, which is again showing that it's the reactive oxygen species. You can see that in the conclusion. It's like singlet oxygen. Singlet oxygen has been used in military settings. Your body will produce this, but yet it's been used to shoot airborne missiles. It's not commonly used, but it has been used. So it's very powerful to clear out disease cells. And so your body can produce these like highly selective, damaging properties to clear out toxic cells. Next one there. There's a clinical study backing that finding on inside the bone, near infrared. So that has to be 800 and up, and I'll show that in a diagram. Next one there, prostate cancer, and I'll show you this straight from where it was published in the Lancet Oncology. In the next slide, that was 413 participants. So that's a big study, and that was a 2-year study, 10 control centers in Europe, and this was a close to a 400% increase in your ability to put prostate cancer in remission in this study. So 49% go into remission in the red light group, and in the non-red light group, 13.5% go into remission. That is a huge difference. If you only had a few percent increase in your ability to resolve the condition, then that would be, worth using. But this was, it was specifically 360% increase in your ability to turn this around. Wow. That was called a vascular targeted photodynamic therapy. So they're using a photosensitizer like methylene blue. It was a deep sea bacteria, but again, it's not as easy to get a hold of, but the same concept you can use something like methylene blue, curcumin, or a combination of those. Gotcha. And so now, because I mentioned the light therapy, so you can understand that, go all the way back to this slide on 32, and then
what number?
Then I can 32. And
for the promo code, what does that give our audience if they use the promo code?
Absolutely. So it activates all the discounts you can see. So there's a lot of free gifts. So on myredlight.com, you get all these free gifts, like free stand, for example. You get your free supplement, an entire protocol, like a 3-month protocol, and a free red light belt, and all of these types of things. But then you activate the discount that you can see by using that code, which is Big Mig. So you'll activate it by using that. And at my PMF mat, we haven't talked about that a lot, but people can do research, and you can see the videos on the page doing the education on that. And I'll share a little bit of that before we end.
Yeah, for sure.
That Big Mig 25 is 25%.
We won't cut you off. You go as long as you can until it is a problem for
Tim
your.
Tebow can wait. How about that?
That's it. Tebow, you're waiting. All right,
they're gonna call me up on stage soon, and so I'm gonna balance a few things. It's a balancing battle here, but then so Big Mig 25 activates at 25% off, and then the bundles, which is like a far infrared sauna blanket, and the PMF mat is at 30% off for that bundle, which is Big Mig 30. But then you could that's on mypmfmat.com. But then you could see the devices there. So you're watching that. So that's a cast iron device with 9 different wavelengths that use dual light emitting diodes. So they have 2 different light sources coming out of them, which maximizes your exposure. You've got complete exposure and even exposure of red and near infrared with an even exposure. Highest tested irradiance over 205 milliwatts per centimeter squared at 3 inches. So that's the highest amount of power delivery that you can find on the market, and then a 3-year warranty, a 50-year rated lifespan hours, which means that it lasts a lifetime. Like with a family using it, like an entire lifetime, a whole family using it, probably around 80 years based on 50,000 hours, depending on the amount of time used, and then 0 EMF coming out of the device, which I show that and I demonstrate.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That EMF isn't great.
Yeah, you're not getting.
Can you do multiple like red light sessions in a day, or?
Yes, you could do 2. Like, look at biology. You could do like what do you see? You see red in the morning and the evening. So 2 would be resembling nature, and then past that might be that you don't get much additional benefit. But then from the studies, you can push it up to an hour and a half based on when you're clearing.
What's the ideal session? A half hour, 45 minutes, an hour?
Typically,
let's talk for preventive. Let's not talk about you have a disease.
Typically half an hour. But the thyroid study showed that 47% of the participants with chronic autoimmune thyroiditis needed no T4 supplementation anymore. So they were off levothyroxine after only 5 weeks. 10 sessions total, 20 minutes twice a week. And that was at a 9-month follow-up, which means that they were off red light for 8 months and they still didn't need to take levothyroxine.
I want to tell you something. I used to have a thyroid issue where I took levothyroxine, right? I took that. And I never associated it with that. My use of red light might very well be the reason why I don't have a thyroid issue, to the point the doctor said, you don't have a thyroid issue.
Wow.
And I was like, how is that possible at my age? Wouldn't it usually go the other direction? Because I have no idea, but you don't need to take any thyroid medicine.
Wow, amazing.
And it would associate the same timeline as when I started using red light.
Man, that's awesome to hear.
I never made that connection before, but go
yeah,
ahead.
there you go. Yeah, no, it's in the studies, and like everyone had a reduced rate of levothyroxine, and after only 5 weeks, 47% had needed 0.
Did you find that when people stopped using the red light that they went back to having an issue? Or
in this case, they were off it for 8 months and it still didn't come back. So eventually, yes, but like it's very lasting and structural. So yeah.
I have a question. What's the difference between getting having a panel versus having the red light belt?
Oh yeah. So the red light belt would be perfect for travel, and it will go throughout the body, but the long COVID study that I cited, that was whole organ exposure. So you're getting it into all your organs, you're getting it into all your organs at the same time. You're getting a higher intensity, you're getting 9 wavelengths versus we actually put 5 in our latest red light belts. So that's, it's pretty exceptional what you could do.
That's a lot of wavelengths.
So for someone at home.
What about a blanket? What about the red light blankets? Do you feel like you got that product also?
Yeah, they're good. We do, but we haven't done as much with that. So we've kind of pulled that one back because the irradiance is higher out of the panels. So we're seeking higher irradiance. It's more comfortable as well, and it gives you the opportunity to do PMF at the same time. So you can actually do PMF underneath you, and the stands that we have.
I know you're short on time. Can you explain PMF to the audience? I'm sure they're like, PMF, what the hell is PMF?
Yeah, so PMF is pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, and I'll just quickly go to that slide 32, and then I'll explain that. Slide 32. Yep, nearly there. One back.
Hold on.
From close. Get there. So there you see 9 different wavelengths. So it's 480, 590, 630, 660, 670, 810, 830, 850, 1060. And then you can see that they're penetrating varying levels of the epidermis, dermis, subcutaneous tissue, muscle, bone, interior tissues. And that's the reason why, if you can interface with all these regions simultaneously, you're getting light to the deepest part of the bodies and the shallowest parts of the body, and interfacing with all the regions of the body that need the light. And then, so go to the next slide, and then you could just kind of laser through these. And so you can see how these wavelengths are proven for weight loss, fat burning, cellulite reduction, metabolism, next one, and anti-aging, acne, scars, rosacea. I could go on for days with this, but keep going there. Hair growth, sun damage, wrinkles, fine lines, droopy eyelids, under eye circles, broken capillaries. Next one. So all the cosmetic benefits, pain relief, wound healing, injury healing, oral health. Next one. Muscle building, athletic performance, post-recovery workout, mental stamina, cognitive performance. Next one. And asthma, depression, anxiety, tinnitus, arthritis, multiple sclerosis.
Crazy.
Stem cell regeneration, which everyone knows how expensive that is, Parkinson's disease, but it's regenerating your stem cells. So it's actually more important than stem cell therapy. Fertility and sperm mobility, herpes, cold sores, eye health. Next one. So that gives you a bit of an idea. Acne, circadian rhythm, that's 480. That's the blue now. Next one. And then the 590 is more of the orange, slightly towards green, hyperpigmentation of skin. So now come over to the other presentation I gave you before we wrap, and I'll show you specifically what PMF does. And so it's working through electromagnetic frequencies to PMF is pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. And so you could see that for example, it's balancing. It'll improve bone density better than anything else. It'll give the deepest sleep that you can get. So have a look at slide 16 there. So slide 16.
What's the effects on your growth hormone from PEM?
Well, it's interfacing with the bones, and your bones are where you're generating stem cells, and it's activating all the stem cell aspect of your body to help your body produce more stem cells. because of that, it's working in all those regions. And so you'll see increased bone density and form new blood vessels. And so it falls into all those categories: vascular, endothelial, tissue. These are all like the important factors. So 2 hours after PMF exposure, it protected key protective, it was working with key protective genes were significantly upregulated, neutralizing oxidative stress, increased expression of enzymes.
I have a question from the chat. Sorry, from one of our. They asked, what about for the heart?
Yes, where PMF and red light proven extensively for heart. Red light, there was a study from Tel Aviv that showed an 80% reduction in heart muscle scarring, which is the hardest part. So kind of give me the hardest things and then I'll show you those. And then everything else becomes easy after that. So that particular study did combine stem cells, but you could produce more stem cells by fasting at the same time or doing intermittent fasting. And so
I do a lot of fasting.
You could produce that effect. And yeah, there's lots of studies, whether it's like POTS or whether it's arrhythmias, because you're interfacing with the heart. Remember, all organs have mitochondria. So all the cells are filled with mitochondria. They account for about 25% of your cells. They surround the nucleus. And we talked about session duration. There's a study that showed 1 minute of exposure. This was a Birmingham University study, increased cell viability by 45%, which means the cells were functioning 45% more effectively with 1 minute of exposure. So what you're doing when you're putting red light into your heart, into your kidneys, into your intestines, into your ovaries, into your testes, you're stimulating your body to produce energy. When the mitochondria produce ATP under the stimulus of light, ATP is adenosine triphosphate. It's a fluorescent substance. It uses that for cellular energy and stores it like a battery. And now it uses it for everything. It uses it to detoxify itself inherently. So it'll detoxify. So if you've got toxins in your heart, which you would if you have a heart issue, it'll go to work to detoxify that. It'll go to helping to produce new stem cells in the heart. And so it's limitless when you understand it in nature. So continue there and have a look at the next ones there. So you'll see cancer in slide 18. There you'll see it's working with painful mouth sore, skin irritation, swelling, nerve pain, digestive problems. So next one there. This specifically showed that PMF was explored to show that what would happen when breast cancer cells were exposed to low frequency PMF. It slowed their growth, triggered cell death, pushed them to a state called cell senescence, where cells stop multiplying but don't die right away. And then remarkably, middle paragraph there, normal healthy cells weren't just unaffected. They actually showed signs of improved health and increased growth. So it's a complementary therapy. Next slide there. PMF treated cancer cells not only displayed cell death, but also senescence, in contrast, which means that the cells were dying. So that's positive. In contrast, normal fibroblasts were not affected by the possible harmful effects of PMFs. There's no harmful PMF frequencies, but increased their cellular viability. So then that kind of gives you, have a look at the autoimmune disorders that are covered there on the next slide in 22. So it's improving cellular energy and circulation. It is next one. Go. Yep. Balancing the immune system activity, reducing chronic inflammation. This study on the next slide was used over a 12-week period for fibromyalgia, which was chronic widespread pain and fatigue. And the women that got the PMF treatment had less pain, better physical function, reduced fatigue, improved mood compared to those that received a fake treatment. And the benefits lasted for 12 weeks. So huge. Page 25 shows the bone density and fracture healing. So when you can increase the density of your bones, then you're improving your entire health of your body, because that's where your body's generating stem cells. So you're enhancing your calcium uptake, stimulating osteoblast activity, promoting collagen production, improving circulation and oxygenation. These are critical factors. And so I explained, and then there's all the EMFs and everything.
Okay, but what is your website where people can get the PEMF?
Yeah. So go to.
So let me do this right now, because I know you're going to run out of time. They're going to call you, but I want to give you the shameless plug here. Tell them where to find you on social media. Tell them the websites for each one of these products. Not because I'd have you go on for another hour if I could. We're going to definitely have you back, Jonathan Otto. We need you back next week for our audience.
We're going to book them for next week sometime.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Can't wait.
So let's do this. Give your social media, give your websites, get everybody where they can go get some help. And we've got the promo code in the chat. Change your health, guys. This is important. We're going to have him back. I know you guys are like, oh, he's moving so fast. He talks fast just like me. I love it. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so that's easy. So mypemfmat.com. And so it's just M-A-T, just one T. Mypemfmat.com. And then that's where you use the code BigMig25 and BigMig30 if you're getting the bundle of the two items there, which is the sauna blanket and the PEMF mat. And look, guys, this is where you can change your life and change your health. And we've made this super affordable. It works out to be the cheapest therapy you can do. It'll be far cheaper than any single supplement that you buy. A red light device or a PMF mat is far cheaper because it's a one and done, and so everything else, like, you're reordering for the next decades of your life, which works out to tens of thousands of dollars for a single supplement if you span it out over time. And so what you're doing is you're taking a device, you're putting it in your home, and you're getting a much cheaper therapy that ends up costing you a few cents a session when you span it out over the time that you're using it, over the decades of life that you use it. And then we've also got payment plans there that you can use and activate, which is, so you could do a 6-month, 12-month. And so it becomes affordable for everyone. It becomes one of the most effective and important things to do. You could do that. And then just specifically explaining, because I shared with the distinguishing points with the red light, with the PMF, it's the 1 to 30 hertz frequency range, which is the Schumann resonance. That's the Earth frequency. And that's where the studies lie within that realm. And so that's what we're using. And also we're using the 150 milliwatt
Can I ask you a question? Do you find one of the best results is if you're lying on the PEMF mat and doing the red light simultaneously? Does that enhance both of those?
It's like a med bed. Yeah, it is the colloquial med bed, because it's like the speed to which everything is regenerating under both of those therapies is often you've seen conditions that are going into remission in a single week. You've seen the data, and so you're hitting both of those important frequencies, and they're supporting each other. So it's a powerful therapy. That's why as well on the red light, myredlight.com page, we have bundles there that have the PMF mat and the sauna blanket bundled together, and we've made it the most affordable.
And your social media, where do they find
you can just look me up, Jonathan Otto, Instagram. We do a lot there, and just look my name up, Jonathan Otto, and you'll find me.
And on X, you're Jonathan Otto 17, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Otto 17. All right, listen, for the audience, I know he's got to go because he's gonna be speaking today, so they're gonna pull him out of here in seconds. Here's the thing, guys. Listen closely. Health is not an accident. Okay, you don't just luckily have good health. You have to work your plan your work. Here's a real solution, real numbers. And where do they find, again, that slideshow? Give them a website again where they can go and read the entire slideshow.
Yeah, exactly. So myredlight.com has the entire slideshow there on the red light, and mypemfmat.com has the entire slideshow on the PMF therapy, all the clinical studies.
And the good news for the audience, all of his documentaries are going to be on the Big Mig documentary channel. You get that for free when you join and follow the Big Mig, of course. If you can do a paid subscription, that's great. Jonathan, is there anything else you want to share on the way out of the door? Because I know you're out of time.
Oh, I appreciate you. You're so kind. Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly go to page 48, and that will just show that quickly so that you can just see what that is physically, because people don't know what they're looking at when they're thinking about a PMF.
Sure.
So 48? Have a look at page 48 there. Go. Yep, there, and then and so that's it actually does have some red light in it, so not to be compared, because it's not as much, but it's specifically and primarily a PMF device, but then it also has far infrared heat as well. So the next slide shows the layers that you have inside of there, and like I mentioned, go over to the codes there. And which is specifically on page 62
on this,
and all the way to 62, and then as well on 63 and 64. So there's 62, and then go to 63, so you can see the Big Mid code there and the massive savings that you're getting there, and then the next one there with the bundle, and like I mentioned, great. Go back one slide.
We're going to put this up on our social media too, so we'll get those slides pulled out of there. We'll do it for the audience. George, you and I can figure that out. So that sandwich, what he's talking about, that PEMF sandwich and that red light sandwich where you get yourself in between of those, that's where you're going to get your optimum solution. for people that are struggling with health in your family, I highly recommend you share this link with everybody. George will be doing short form. We'll be doing long form. Do all of it. Go follow him over on X and Instagram. Actually, this is how you get proactive for your family. This is how you protect your family.
He's got a big Facebook page. I think you're more on Facebook and IG, right?
Oh yeah, both of those. Yeah, we've got quite a big following on both. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's awesome. Yeah. And just so people know what they're looking for, it's the 150 millitesla field strength. And so then that's where you could see there with the PMF.
150 millitesla field strength.
Field strength. Yeah, because they're factors that you need to know, because if you miss that, and it's like, not all PMF is the same. But yeah, that gives us a good glance at all of that. I appreciate you guys for having me on, guys.
We are definitely going to have you back, man. We will get that scheduled. Thank you so very much. I hope the audience loved this. Now, you guys know how you thank us.
Question.
Yeah, George.
Does your red light therapy help for stroke symptoms?
Yeah, it's been incredible. Like there was one published in the British Medical Journal, a child that had a stroke when she was born at age 12, she regained all function. So, sorry, she was 9. So she, at 9 years after she had the stroke, when she was born, with very low social abilities, very low test scores. So she didn't have a normal life. She would have been she would have appeared like an autistic child, but she completely regained all social function. It was published in the British Medical Journal.
Unbelievable.
You even see the footage of the child with a recovery. And we just keep seeing case studies like that. We see studies with, I've seen women in their 90s get their eyesight back, being able to read, and just being flabbergasted that is happening within the first few days of even using light. I've seen people that are bedridden going with thyroid diseases, and then they're going to compete in marathons 2.5 weeks later. There are miracles that are happening. Not that everyone has those like crazy fast results, but they do happen. And so it's great seeing it, because it makes everyone believe what's possible for their own health. And that's what I'm excited about. And yeah.
Now, let me emphasize, nothing on this show is medical advice, obviously for education and entertainment only. Of course, we always want you to talk to your own medical advisors, but at the end of the day, the most important thing you can do is educate yourself. Here's the material. He's done the heavy lifting. You can go to these presentations, 80 plus, 100 plus slides. I don't even know how many slides are in that thing. The point is, he already did all the heavy lifting for you. Then you can always go validate some of the data he's got in there if you want. Do your own research on any of the search engines. My point is, get proactive. Don't assume because some doctor gives you some pills that that's going to be the solution to better health, because most likely it's not. You have to have a plan. You have to work that plan. Hopefully this is part of it. Hopefully we provide you guys some information in the audience. We're definitely going to have Jonathan back. If you like the show, thumbs up, comment, share. If you can do the paid subscription, you see what we're doing on this show. We're on all levels. This is kind of a Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan style. We're giving you the full gamut. The idea is to educate and unify the country one episode at a time. We want to expose the truth. That's what our plan always is, because we want to help you. Whether we're exposing Washington, D.C., we're exposing maybe some stuff in the health industry you don't know about. It's how we do it on this show. So, of course, George will be doing short form. Please share it all. Share the live link. Hit a follow button. And like I said, if you can do the paid subscription, great. If you can do a Rumble rant tip, all that goes back into the show. You see what we're focused on is improving your life through this show. And don't forget, we had the Crypto Power Hour, the #1 crypto show on Rumble, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard, Wednesdays and Fridays. This show, 11 a.m. every day, Monday through Friday. George, last words, my brother.
I want to let him go. Jonathan, God bless. Thank you for the information. And we're going to get you booked on next week. So I'll talk to Evan and get it figured out.
Thanks so much, George.
Hey, thank you, brother. We really appreciate you.
Say hello to the group over there and tell them we support Save Our Children 100%. God bless.
Well, love you guys. Bye.
Are you ready to stand up for your community? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At CSPOA.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit CSPOA.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's CSPOA.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
President Trump has a bold new vision to help secure America's future through the power of cryptocurrency. Partnering with pioneers like Elon Musk, he's turning crypto into the next frontier of financial freedom. But how can you, a generation that values security and stability, advance your retirement in this digital age? Introducing Block Trust IRA, the world's first AI-driven platform designed to help your cryptocurrency investments thrive. Thousands of retirees nationwide are already securing their futures with Block Trust IRA. Isn't it time you join them? Visit blocktrustira.com now and receive up to $2,500 in funding bonuses. That's blocktrustira.com. The experts in accelerating wealth retirement.
Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation.
Forged through rigorous training and honed by the finest instructors on Earth, these K9 units serve beside our nation's warriors as they fight to preserve what we cherish. When these warriors complete their duty, the Warrior Dog Foundation provides them with a home deserving of the service they've given us all. At our state-of-the-art kennels, they receive rehabilitation and care suitable for heroes, because that's what they are. Be a part of giving them a future today. Visit warriordogfoundation.org.